What's up, Earthspeed? Today, we're joined by Caroline Allen, also known as the Mineral Geek. Caroline has dedicated her studies to understanding the power of minerals and their vital role on our bodies and on the Earth. Two-time Nobel Prize winner Dr. Linus Pauling said, "You can trace every sickness, every disease, and every ailment to a mineral deficiency." The problem is that our modern agriculture practices have led to soil depletion, making it challenging to obtain these essential minerals in our food. But as Caroline says, minerals are the foundation of life and the bridge between us and the earth. So this connection between soil health and human health is something we can all participate in. So please enjoy this conversation on the magic of minerals. Hey everybody, welcome to Earthspeed. I'm here with Caroline Allen, AKA the Mineral Geek, the Mineral Whisperer, and we've just coined the Mineral
Messenger.
Exactly. I love it. Okay, well then let's geek out on minerals because I don't know enough about minerals. So I'm hoping to get a deep dive on minerals, what they are, like just the basics. What are minerals?
Well, if you look around us, every piece of structure, this glass, this table, all of the plants, all of the structure in your body, it's all minerals. Over 100 minerals, and they're still finding more, that make up these pieces of structure in the world.
So essentially the minerals are what gives the structure that the water would hold on to if we were just water, but obviously we're many other things.
Exactly.
But it creates that structure that everything else, it's almost like a hanger that everything hangs on.
Exactly. And in fact, you know, if you think about the world vibrationally, also when you get smaller and smaller and you follow minerals even down, they're actually vibration. They're actually resonance and dissonance, and all of those vibrational patterns keep this in this form.
Are they within each cell or do they hang on to the minerals?
Well, if you think about the substrate of everything, it's all minerals. And then you have water, and then you have hydrogen, you have all these different carbon, you have all these different structures, these molecular structures. So if you think about the periodic table, and everything is made of this set, these different combinations of minerals, etc., that create all these different materials and structures. So that's kind of the foundation. But then there's also the way that minerals fuel everything. So like in your body, your entire body's made of cells. And inside of your cells are mitochondria. And these mitochondria are fueled, they generate all the energy in your body, like all the energy that's allowing me to talk and think and dream. So if you don't have minerals or amino acids in your body, you can't generate energy. You will literally die. You can live without water for a long time. You can live without, vitamins, nutrition, but without minerals, your body will stop operating. About 10 years ago, I was in incredibly ill health. I had flatlined adrenals, really bad inflammation in my gut. Even after being gluten-free for like 7 years, I had really bad inflammation in my mouth with receding gums and bone loss in my teeth. And I was introduced to these plant-based humic and fulvic liquid minerals. And I started taking them. And in about, I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, okay, they taste like water. What is this really, But my body kind of wanted it. Every morning I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll have that. And I'd take it. After 2 months, I went to my dentist. And usually I had my teeth cleaned, and usually things were sensitive and bleeding gums, no bleeding, no sensitivity. My dentist looks in my mouth and she's like, wow, the pH in your mouth has totally changed. All the inflammation is gone. The tissues look pink and healthy. What are you doing? And I'm like, I think it's these minerals. Over the space of like 8 or 9 months, all these chronic symptoms that I'd been struggling and dealing with they just ended. And that's when I thought, I had this curiosity. How could these little cups of liquid that tastes like water, right? have such an impact on my health when I tried, acupuncture and Chinese medicine and herbology and energy medicine and gone to all sorts of doctors and all sorts of diets. And, guess what? When you provide the fuel for your cells, they can generate enough energy to do what your body can naturally do, which is clear away inflammation, create enough cortisol for adrenal support, balance your hormones, balance your blood sugar. I had hypoglycemia all my life.
Are minerals electrolytes?
Electrolytes are minerals with a strong electrical charge. So different minerals in the periodic table have higher and lower electrical charges.
Salt.
Yes.
Has a higher electric.
Correct. Exactly.
Right. So you want salt with a high electric charge for hydration, to help retain water in the body, but then other minerals do other things?
Yeah, so it's interesting, there's kind of a misunderstanding. People think about...
I'm a classic case of a misunderstanding, which is why you're here.
People think about electrolytes and they immediately think about salts. And the reason they think about salts is because there's a lot of marketing around selling salt-based electrolytes, right? So there's all these powders and drinks and different things, and they're salts. And it is true that salts are strongly charged particles, which are electrolytes. But it's not the best way to get minerals into your body. This body is actually a freshwater system. Even though, yes, our blood is, close to seawater, but if you drink a glass of salt water, you'll feel queasy because your system is not a saltwater system. And drinking salt-based electrolytes on a regular basis, what it does is it irritates the lining of the bladder and kidney. And then what happens is you actually start urinating more, and now you're flushing your system. You're actually pulling minerals out of your body. You're irrigating rather than hydrating.
You would look at a buffet and you would say, oh, I'm gravitating towards this particular food for some reason. Mm-hmm. So does that resonate with you?
Totally does, for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's a term for micronutrient deficiency. It's called the hidden hunger. Because isn't that what most of us are feeling, right? Like you have that feeling like just something's missing. But what if that is actually your cells saying, we need minerals? So, I don't talk about this a lot with people, but I have kind of a personal relationship with minerals. Let's just say that. And, they've kind of talked to me. And one of the things that I realized is that, you talk about that separation of humans from the earth, thinking we're on the earth instead of part of the earth. And that's partly because we're mineral deficient. So the minerals told me that, I know I'm not crazy, but somehow this knowledge came into me that if we can remineralize humans, if we can get these minerals back into humans, we will resonate at a vibrational level with the earth, and that sense of resonance and sense of connection will return.
People are now in touch. Let's just project into that utopia that we're creating here. And they're like, I need minerals. I want to increase my mineral intake. What's the way? How do they do it? Considering our food system is not set up to deliver those minerals as of today.
The main thing that I tell people is minerals in your body. First of all, you've got a lot of them, like way more than there's like probably 15 or 17 that they know you need. Okay, but your body's actually made of every mineral on earth the same way the plants are and the soil is, okay? So it doesn't work to put large amounts of minerals into your body. Now, you could go and you could get a test, maybe a hair tissue mineral analysis test, or you could do another test we call the Oligoscan, which has, it uses spectrophotometry to shine a light into your tissues. It returns data and tells you all the levels of the minerals in your tissues, electrolytes, etc. And it'll tell you how you're doing, at a mineral, all your minerals and how the balances are doing. And that's really important because minerals work in these balanced triumvirates, pairs, quads. So if you if you try and fill up the tank and take that 2,600 milligrams of potassium and put it in your system, what happens is you throw your system way out of balance. So we work with athletes and trainers of like elite performance triathletes. And these are aging in the aging quadrant. And what they said is that their aging athletes struggle with osteopenia and osteoporosis because they've put so many electrolytes into their system. And their system says, okay, I've got a lot of potassium and magnesium. I need to balance that. So I'm going to pull calcium from the bones to do that. And they did that over years, taking it, all throughout their training, et cetera.
And probably a ton of sugar too.
Right, exactly, in those electrolyte drinks, et cetera. So they know that it doesn't work. And, so what I say to people, if you want to replenish minerals in your system, look for a micronutrient replenisher, preferably humic and fulvic, mainly because the fulvic is going to deliver those minerals into your cells. Okay, so that's really great. And really think about whatever you're doing in your body, how is it actually going to digest? How is it going to absorb into your bloodstream? And how is it going to get into the cells? Because most of the pills and powders, that we take, they're made from rocks, shells, and bones. Now, if you're eating and you get a piece of rock, a shell, or bone, you spit it out because you don't digest that well. And even though these are powdered, the component size they have to get to be absorbed through your bloodstream is so incredibly small that you only actually absorb about 10 to 12%. What I love about our products is they're liquid. Not all liquid minerals, people who've tried them are like, I don't want to drink liquid. But these ones, they taste like water. And the coolest thing about them is that they don't require any digestion. The minute you drink them, they're available for absorption because they're called ionized. It means they're already at their component size ready for absorption. So if we had some in this drink and I drank it, I'd probably feel it. If I'm mineral deficient or electrolyte deficient, I'll feel it. Within 1 or 2 minutes, I'll be like, whoa, I feel that. I feel good. I feel the replenishment.
Why don't they taste, how come they don't have a taste?
Well, that's particularly our method of extraction. So lots of minerals are extracted using hydrochloric acid. It's not a bad thing, and lots of agricultural humic and fulvic are extracted that way because it's very quick. But it renders a substance that tastes really bad. We use this particular proprietary process that just uses water.
I've been drinking mine every day. And
how do you like it?
I drink a glass of water every morning anyway, and so it's just, I add it, and it's no real difference to my desire to hydrate.
Right.
It's just, my son likes to watch me because I'm holding him when I'm making my morning whatevers and making my drinks and stuff, and he likes to watch me do it, and he's like, "What are you drinking? Can I give it to him?"
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Because
I have.
absolutely.
Just want to make sure I'm still being a good dad.
It's even more important for kids because the sad truth is we're all getting glyphosate exposure it's in the air, it's in the water, it's everywhere. And it really affects kids and young children even more so because their bodies are developing. They even more so need to remediate the glyphosate out. And that's one of the cool things about the humic molecule in the plant-based minerals is that it remediates and removes glyphosate from the system.
You do have the liquid, but then you also have the spray on, which I'd never seen before. Like it just absorbs right into your skin.
It does. When I think about that fulvic molecule, right, and how small it is, it can go inside a cell. So if you spray it on the outside, it absorbs through the lining, your derma, right in the muscle in like 3 to 5 seconds. So let's say you have a cramp, or you have an aching shoulder, or you have a tension headache, or you just need to get a really immediate infusion of electrolytes through your sinuses. You just spray and breathe it in. It's
Cool.
so cool. Well, once you try it though, you'll love it. I mean, literally what happens is people, they spray it and they're like, whoa, that feels so good. You'll get addicted. We have it now everywhere. I have it in my bag, I have it in my car, I have it by my bed, on my desk, because it feels so good.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm in now. Yeah.
Our bodies actually, to replenish minerals in the body, there's natural tools for doing that. Like every plant around us, they know how to use something called fulvic and humic. These are plant-based minerals. They're made from the decomposition of all these. When these plants die and decompose, they create this humic and fulvic. I'm sure you've heard, because of your farm, of mycelium. So mycelium is this incredible structure of fungi underneath the soil. And what fungi do is they deliver packets of minerals to the roots of plants. And do you know what they deliver? They deliver fulvic and humic, because these little packets, these molecules, are little energy, they're mineral packets, they're nutritional packets that get to the roots of the trees. Your body also knows exactly how to utilize these humic and fulvic. And so if you put humic and fulvic into your body will naturally utilize it to replenish minerals right into the cells, right into those mitochondria. So this is where we also get to talk about the humic molecule, because fulvic and humic work together. So this fulvic is this intercellular transporter delivering nutrients and minerals into the cell. And then what happens is it gathers biowaste, toxins, heavy metals, free radicals, things like glyphosate, environmental pollutants, and it carries them out of the cell, literally. Because think back when there were cellular systems first evolving, there were also lots of concentrations of substances that were not going to support thriving cellular systems, like sulfur, volcanoes, etc. So there had to be a way to clear these things away. And humic and fulvic, literally, they are evolved to support nutritional uptake into cellular systems and detoxification. A friend of mine in the zoo, she went in the zoo, she took our humic product, our liquid, and she put down a bowl of water, plain water, and she put down a bowl of water with our minerals in it for every single animal in the zoo. And every single animal chose the bowl with the minerals in it and drank it all the way down before it drank the other water. See, the animals know.
But we as humans, we don't do that. Why not? Why don't we gravitate towards it? Why do we have to be told to do what's good for us?
One of the things that this epiphany, a big aha moment for me, was this realization. We've been taught to think of our body mechanically, more like a car. Like, I need gas, put in gas, I need oil, put in oil, maybe some window washing fluid, right? I need magnesium. Someone said I need to take 320 milligrams of magnesium a day, or 2,600 milligrams of potassium every day. So I'll take a pill and I'll fill up the tank. But it doesn't, this ecosystem doesn't work like that at all. So that's actually extremely counterproductive. And what we have to do, again, is begin to think about our body like an ecosystem. And if we change our thinking and realize, when I eat something, it has to be digested, it has to support the microbiome, the balance and homeostasis of the microbiome, then it has to be absorbed into my bloodstream, and it has to be assimilated into the cells. Well, I better be putting things in that are going to support that replenishment process. So rather than thinking about supplementing, let's think about replenishing. It has a different feeling even. Yeah.
See, I always created that like for like comparison through the concept of your microbiome.
Yes.
Versus the micronutrients within the soil. But then there's this other component, this additional component, which is also mirroring itself, which is the mineral components. and they're all working in harmony.
I love that. It's because this is the thing that as I've studied and studied about minerals and how they work and how they're replenished and all of those things, what's happened is I've come to this holistic view. And as you're saying, it's all reflecting, every part reflects the other. As above, so below, you know. We work, our mitochondria work the same way this tree's mitochondria work. Our microbiome in our gut, this is something I like people to understand. So if you think about the microbiome, it's like this beautiful garden that we're in, okay? It's got enough, when it's healthy, it has all the nutrients it needs, it has all the light, it has clean air, enough water, etc. And now let's go take a wheelbarrow of magnesium and let's throw it on the grass over here. The plants in that right there are not going to thrive because it's a concentration. So microbiomes, ecosystems, they work at Earthspeed, okay? They like broad spectrum of small amounts of micronutrients in balanced ways delivered. If you take a concentration, it's not healthy. So when we're using like salt-based electrolytes, we're using large, what I call megadose minerals, and we're taking pills and powders, what we're doing is actually creating a lot of work for our body to remove all that excess. And if you use something like the fulvic and humic, what you're doing is you're delivering that full spectrum of minerals in those micro amounts into the system in exactly the way that it knows how to utilize it. Now you're supporting the ecosystem.
Is this why it would be more advisable to eat a piece of fruit with a balanced mineral basis versus just eating a bunch of, could you just eat some minerals in their raw form just from the dirt?
So the challenge that we have is how do we get minerals from outside of our body into our digestive tract, get them broken down small enough so they can be absorbed through the gut lining into the bloodstream, and then be absorbed from the bloodstream into the cells, or assimilated, they call it, into the cells. That's a long way to go. So let's say you eat a piece of fruit. Now it has to be digested, so that depends on your gut enzymes and your microflora in your gut and the lining, the health of the lining of your gut. How healthy is it? How well can you absorb stuff into your bloodstream? And then it relies on how healthy are your cell linings. The fulvic molecule is a delivery system for nutrients and minerals into the cells. It's called a flavonoid. People have heard of that term, but what's a flavonoid? It's an intercellular transporter. It carries these nutrients into the cell, and then it does what no other molecule on Earth can do. It's the only molecule that they know that can do this. It changes its polarity. So the way I like to imagine is like, if you have a magnet, you've got like things stuck to the magnet, and then you release the magnet, all those things fall off. And that's what happens with this fulvic molecule. Isn't it phenomenal? Those nutritional elements fall off inside the cell, available to the mitochondria for energy generation.
What's in it for the molecule?
That's a really good question. This is why, I talk with people who are the world-renowned scientists who have studied humic and fulvic for years. They call them the God molecules because they're like, exactly. Because all they can see, here's the thing, if you think about cellular systems that evolved on the Earth, okay? Back when there were single cellular systems and then multicellular systems, there had to be a way to get the minerals into those cells. Otherwise, all this life would not have thrived. So right alongside it evolved this method for getting the minerals and the nutritional elements into the cells.
So we were talking before, about Earthspeed. Mm-hmm. And from my perspective, one of the ways in which we get into that rhythm of nature mm-hmm. is by increasing sentience. right? So that we can actually start to feel again. Because when we decided to separate ourselves and everything became a mechanical universe and we put it into pieces and parts so that we could try and figure things out, and we were separate from nature, we're like all in the head and the intellect, we sort of left our bodies behind. And so for me, one of the ways that I've gotten to be more healthy and whole is by coming back down into what I can feel, my intuition, what I can sense. And so just thinking about the animals, they have a sense when they need something versus you having to create a schedule from like an intellect that's separate from the feeling of what it's like to need something. So I would posit that if we can feel into our bodies, we would have an instinct about what we need.
It's been quite a journey to have had the personal experience of these plant-based minerals, to understand how minerals are supporting life, literally the foundational support for life, and realizing they are this cornerstone that nobody knows about. I mean, has anybody ever talked to you about how minerals work in your body? No, right? And that's why I became, as I learned and I studied, I had these aha moments, I was like, I have to bring this message to the world. Because if people only knew that all they have to do to support every function in their body is to get minerals into their body in a effective way to replenish using the natural tools that all of nature uses, fulvic and humic, we could actually start resonating with the earth, we could have enough energy to meet our life, and we could change the world.
I'm with you. So I think it's time that I take a more active role in acknowledging and supporting the mineral function, not only in my own body, but also here on the land, especially since there is that harmony between the earth and the body. I'm continuously trying to increase my awareness so that when I'm walking on the soil, I'm not just checking out into like a nice moment of escape, but really diving in and allowing myself to make those connections. When I'm with the soil, I'm seeing that the soil is speaking to me, right? And what's that conversation between my body and the earth?
You know, my thought about that, Adrian, is even in your conversation, you're thinking of yourself as separate from the earth. And actually, you are literally part of the earth. We are of the earth. We evolved on the earth. We are a set of cellular systems, the same way this tree is a set of cellular systems. And our cells at the energy generation level work the same way as this tree in the mitochondria, using amino acids and minerals to generate energy. Exactly the same. All the animals that you have, your farm animals, they're the same. So as you become remineralized by putting humic and fulvic in your body, more and more you're going to start recognizing that when you're looking at a plant, that it's your family. Do you see? I really believe that at a vibrational level, you will begin to recognize all of this as part of you as part of this. And you're slowly, your language will change, and you'll start using different ways of describing how it is that you walk out into your garden.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Would you like to come look at my garden?
Oh, I would love to see that. I totally would love to.
I would love
look
to
at
share
your
it with you.
So, you know, think about these plants, and the way they're grading all this structure is with minerals. Over time, you need to get the minerals back into the soil.
Yes, yeah.
Whether and people will think, well, I can just, put compost in. But the problem is to get humic and fulvic, it actually takes a very, very long time. It's specific microbes that are doing a whole decomposition process in a particular linear order.
So how do you do that?
You're going to need to find humic and fulvic, and they're particular.
So it's something I have to, is an amendment?
Yes, it's an amendment.
Okay.
You're going to have to amend your soil. What you're going to do is when you're fallow, in the fallow state, that's when you're going to put the humic on. And then the fulvic is going to be when the growth is happening, because that you could use a foliar spray even. You could spray it on and the leaves will absorb it the same way your skin absorbs it directly.
So I'm just wondering why, why a piece of leaf, which has all of the minerals in it, when you put it in the compost and it decomposes, why it wouldn't?
Oh, so remember we were talking about how if I take pills and powders and it goes into my gut and it doesn't break down small enough to be bioavailable to the plant. So these elements have to get all the way down to their ionic chemical components, okay? And yes, over 25 years or maybe 10 years, it would actually break down that far. But over a season, if you just take compost that you've had out in your compost pile for a year and you put it in there, it will have mineral content, but it won't have the delivery system for those minerals of the fulvic.
So okay, so I don't mean to push back,
No,
because
you're
you're the
good.
nerd, not me, but isn't that what the plants are doing?
The plants are not. The plants are just literally using whatever minerals are available. Same way, in your bloodstream, you've got minerals floating around in your bloodstream, and you have cells. And your cells are uptaking minerals into the cells. It's exactly the same way it's happening here.
The plants aren't able to absorb those large minerals just as we aren't able to.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Exactly. They have to get all the way down to their ionic components. And that fulvic molecule, what's so amazing is the mycelium that are in your soil here. Mycelium are these fungi, right? And they deliver little packets of nutrients to the roots of plants. That's how the nutrients get in the plants. And guess what they're delivering? Fulvic and humic.
Okay, I concede to your nerddom. Well, thanks for this, because now I know something that I didn't before.
Right, and here's the thing, you can try it. So take one of your beds, two beds, and do one normal way, and then go find some humic and fulvic and put it on that bed, and just not only watch how well they grow, but then taste them. The nutritional content of those plants will be much greater. It's a beautiful place you have here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. It's super hot, but we're going to give you one last hug.
I like to.
Yeah.